Welcome to WCS Money Tutorials. Today's topic is how to maximize your take-home pay by properly filling out and filing Form W-4. Receiving a tax refund is always nice, but you are giving the government an interest-free loan. While the government can certainly use the money, chances are you need the money more. You can live better and you can make bigger retirement contributions to decrease taxable income, plus increase your net worth, especially for retirement. Most importantly, if you have debt with a high interest rate, then you can earn that interest rate tax-free and completely risk-free by paying off your debt faster, which you can do with a higher take-home pay. These are some of the times when you should file a new W-4, including when your filing status changes or when you have more children. Anytime something changes that will change your tax liability for the year. The withholding amount per pay period is calculated by calculating your net tax liability for the year, then dividing it by the number of pay periods in the year. The first page of Form W-4 is the form itself, which you fill out, sign, then give to your employer. The rest of the form consists of instructions and tables to fill out this first page. These brief instructions for Form W-4 are sufficient for most people, but much more complete information can be found in IRS Publication 505. Page 3 has the Multiple Jobs Worksheet and the Deductions Worksheet. If you only have one job, or if you are married filing jointly and only one of you works, then you do not have to worry about this section. You also do not need the Deductions Worksheet if you are claiming the standard deduction and you have no adjustments to income, such as student loan interest or deductible IRA contributions. But even if you have itemized deductions and adjustments to income, the worksheet is very easy to follow, so just follow the directions. Page 4 has the tax table you need to use if you have more than one job, or you are married filing jointly and both of you and your spouse works. Note that there are 3 separate tables for the different filing statuses. Get Form W-4 from your employer or download it from the IRS website. Complete the form, then give it to your employer. You may claim an exemption from withholding if you had no federal tax liability in the previous tax year and you expect to have no federal tax liability in the current year, and your income will not exceed your standard deduction based on your filing status. However, do not claim an exemption if you are at least 65 years of age or blind, or you will itemize deductions or claim tax credits. The standard deduction will be increasing by 3% in 2022, as you can see in this table. To claim an exemption from withholding, enter your name, address, and Social Security number in Step 1 on Form W-4. Write exempt below line 4C. Sign and date the form, then give it to your employer. Only the child tax credit and the dependent care credit are listed on Form W-4 itself. The child tax credit can be found simply by multiplying the number of qualifying children by $2,000 and the number of dependents, not including the children being claimed for the child tax credit, by $500. Many people earning less than $54,000 who can claim these credits can also claim the Earned Income Credit, which can be worth thousands of dollars. To account for these credits better, you must use the IRS Tax Withholding Estimator, which I will discuss later. However, if you just claim these credits, even if you qualify for other credits, you could still increase your take-home pay and still receive a refund when you file your taxes. In this section, you include income not earned from work, such as investment income and retirement income. In Step 4B, you can claim additional deductions, which you can calculate on the Deductions Worksheet on page 3 of the form. It may be better to use the Withholding Estimator to total your deductions. The estimator will provide a more complete list of deductions, where you list the amount for each deduction, then the calculator will total the amount. Step 4C is a line for extra withholding, where you can specifically request to have more taxes withheld. If you use the Tax Withholding Estimator, and it shows that you will owe money unless you change your withholding, then you can take the additional amount shown in the estimator, divide that by the number of pay periods remaining for the year, then enter that amount on this line. This is the multiple jobs tax table that you will use if you have more than one job, or if you are married, filing jointly, and both you and your spouse work. Note the column of the higher paying job at the left side of the table, which lists the rows, and the 12 columns for the lower paying job to the right. I will continue this discussion with an example. If you make $85,000 and your spouse makes $45,000, then you would find $7,340 at their intersection. Enter this amount on line 1, Step 2B of the Multiple Jobs Worksheet. If there are 26 pay periods, then divide this amount by 26 to yield 282. Enter 282 on Step 4C for extra withholding on Form W-4. Form W4 does not account for all income, such as business income, tax credits, deductions, and adjustments to income. You can gain a more complete picture of your tax liability by using the IRS Tax Withholding Estimator. This is a brief overview of how this estimator works. It consists of 6 sections, which you can see at the top of the page. You must fill out these sections in sequence. So for instance, the first section is information about you. If you need more information about a particular item, you can click the circled blue question mark next to the item, which will show more information. Click the little X to close the box, or you can keep it open and continue filling out the form if you wish. As you provide information, the form may ask for more information, as you can see here. The information presented depends on what you select. Note that some information is required and some is optional. Radio buttons allow you to make only one selection. Boxes are usually optional and more than one box can be checked. When you finish the section, then click Next to go to the next section. Some selections require additional information. For instance, if you have self-employment income, then you must enter the amount of income and the taxes already paid on that income. If you have more than one business, then you can click the plus Add Another box. Form W4 does have an entry for adjustments to income, but you must know them to take advantage of them. However, the IRS Tax Withholding Estimator shows a good list, as you can see in the screenshot of the adjustments to income in the estimator. Simply check all that apply and provide any additional information required, which will show up as an additional box when you check an item. This section includes the most common deductions. These are the most common of the tax credits you can claim. Expand each item that is relevant to you and enter the necessary information. The results page will show you a summary of the information you have entered. If you are projected to receive a refund, the screen will show you how much your refund is expected to be based on the information you have entered. You should review the sections to see if they are accurate. If they are not, you can edit any section by clicking on the Edit button for that section. On the other hand, if you owe money, then it will show this, and by how much. If you owe money, then simply take the total amount that you are projected to owe and divide it by the number of pay periods remaining in the year. Then you can request additional withholding on Form W4. If you are projected to receive a big refund, then just be sure you fill out the form to minimize your withholding. There is no way to specifically request to withhold less on Form W4 in the same way that you can request to withhold more. But if you also have self-employment income, then you can vary your payment of estimated taxes so that you will maximize your take-home pay without being penalized for underpayment of taxes. If you work only part of the year, then you can ask your employer to use the part-year method for your W4 form. If too much or too little taxes have already been withheld, then you could ask your employer to use the Cumulative Wage Method, but you must request this in writing. If you have high interest debt, or you need the money for other reasons, remember, you cannot reduce your withholding without a reasonable basis. Otherwise, the IRS may assess a $500 penalty if you withhold too little tax because you provided information without a reasonable basis. There is also a fine of up to $1,000 or 1 year imprisonment, or both, if you willfully fail to supply information that would increase the amount withheld. However, do not let this make you too fearful in changing your form, since a simple error or an honest mistake will not incur these penalties. Thank you very much for your time. If you liked my video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. I would appreciate any suggestions, so please leave them in the comments below. Thank you.